Welcome to the Happiness Happens podcast. I'm Simone Nicole, host of the show, mindset coach, and motivational speaker. I've made it my mission to help you get unstuck, shift your mindset, and understand your worth to help you live your most purposeful life. Each week, I will bring you an idea, guest, or a positive thought that will leave you inspired and empowered to win your life. We decide the stories we tell ourselves and where we invest our energy. I'm so grateful you popped in. Now let's dive in. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode on the Happiness Happens podcast. I'm very excited to bring on today's guest. I think you guys are just going to love her, and she is going to leave with so much incredible information, so much insight, and I really think that you guys are going to love this episode. And you're also going to love Carly so much. She's so sweet. So today on the show, we have Carlys Zimbone, and she helps impact-driven entrepreneurs break free from believing they need a large following to build a profitable business by leveraging the power of social media. Carly, welcome to the show.
Hello, Simona, and thank you so much for this warm and hot welcome. I am so excited to be here.
Me too. I'm so excited that you're here. As I was reading this, I'm thinking to myself, oh my goodness, I literally just saw something that said the exact same thing. Like, don't put your worth or your value in how many followers someone has or how much, how big somebody might look online, instead look at them for like the kindness that they bring and their integrity and who they are as people. And I love that so much. So just, I guess to get us started, can you just like tell us a little bit about your journey and how you got to where you are today?
Yes. So, and I'm so glad that you took note of that about the following, because it's so true. It really does not place any worth on your expertise or the value that you provide. So how I dove into this was actually, I've always dreamed since I was 12 years old. I wrote this in my iPhone notes section. I've always dreamed of launching a business that provided our world a positive impact. And so fast forward, during college, I launched what used to be called my brand name, The Empowerist, which was to help people tap into their unlimited potential and infinite potential. And so quickly I became really passionate about the power of social media and the role that it plays with the opportunity that we can reach so many people. We're not limited to just our local area. So that's why I became super passionate about social media. And then, like everyone, after they graduate college, I dove right into a career full time. I had to give up the Empowerist, it was honestly heart crushing for me, because I worked so hard to cultivate this mindset of pure attraction and helping so many people and helping myself, of course, to be able to be in that position. And so it was really hard actually to give this up. And I spent so much time working to get into this place. Growing up, growing up plays a lot of the role that gave me the drive and gifted me the drive and the vision. So I'm super, super grateful that I'm finally tapping into my gift. I realized after being at this role for a year and 4 months, I realized, man, I'm going to look back when I'm 27 and say, I'm so sad that I didn't freaking try. And so then after a year of being settled, undergoing anxiety that I never experienced in this role because I had to give up everything. I was working 60 hours a week in an office space, so not even at home. And it was just like I had to give up all my passion. So I ended up losing myself within that year. And then I just said, you know what? I'm going to quit. I'm going to pursue social media full time because I'm passionate about it and I've built this following already. And I want to help other entrepreneurs who are impact driven and have a similar vision do the same thing.
I love that so much. I think that I can totally resonate with you when you're saying this. And I haven't personally gone full time yet into my business. I'm still doing it, while working full time. And I think that one of the biggest things, like from what you just said there, is that, you said it without saying it, like regardless how hard it might be or how exhausting it might feel, looking ahead and thinking back why did I never try this, or why did I never actually give it a fair chance, is like
Mm-hmm.
so much worth. Like, I just think that it's so much, there's so much to be gained with that perspective, because when you look at things through that way, it's kind of like failure doesn't actually really become an option, because you're constantly giving yourself this opportunity, right, to, you know,
Right.
to do what you love. So
Yeah.
when you switched from the empower us, right, I love that
Mm-hmm.
name. So okay, when you
Thank you.
switched, what made you sort of switch it into a new brand, new company with a new name?
Yes. So that was actually a recent shift. And I decided, you know what? People fall in love with working with the individual on the other end. They're not going to love the product. They're not going to fall for the service. They're going to fall for the person that they have the chance and the opportunity to work for. So I said to myself, this Empower Us name is beautiful and I love it. And it played a really big role in my life. And 6 years later, I just said, we're gonna take this full force, and I'm gonna take on the name, and I'm gonna be the personal brand. And you know what held me back from stopping from taking on that personal name and that personal brand was
What?
I was so scared of what everyone else would think of me, my friends that followed me, my family that followed me. What are they gonna think of me? And I was suffering from that imposter syndrome. Like, who am I to quit my job after just a year and 4 months of being there and say that I'm doing this full time? But I said, this is my gift and I'm doing everyone else a disservice by not stepping into it. So I just took full ownership and I was like, it's time, let's go.
I love that. Okay, the piece about taking full ownership, what was the shift that you like needed to make within you, and how did you make that shift in order to be able to step into your true gifts fully? Because a lot of the people, a
Yeah.
lot of the time, people can be very scared and can be very fearful of doing that and taking that change.
Yeah. It's so scary. And I think I think what shifted it for me was after leaving that job and stepping into this new role and bringing on my first client. I remember when I brought on my first two clients last September, and man, did I not earn a living, but I earned plenty, and I didn't care how much it was. I was so grateful to just earn money all by myself. But what's allowed me to step into that mindset of owning my power was that I finally fully fell in love, honestly, with myself. I just, I was like, it's time to stop holding myself back and stop caring what everyone thinks of me and start just doing and pushing out the content regardless. And the beautiful part was once I started to show up in my Instagram stories, I remember literally January, I made a New Year's resolution. I go, you know what? I don't really post Instagram stories, and I'm going to step into that this year. And the moment that I stepped into that, my audience stuck with me and they were inspired and they did DM me, and I was like, okay, this is working. And slowly with the build of that momentum and seeing it work just allowed me to keep going and drove me to keep doing it.
I love that. When you say the part about, you know, hopping on to Instagram lives and that kind of thing, okay, I'm going to take myself as a personal example.
Yeah, let's do
My
it.
page is was my personal page, like before I even started my business. So there's a lot of people on there who follow who aren't necessarily, you know, interested in, you know, the business side about what I do, more about like the mindset side. And so what I notice is that, you know, okay, I'm just gonna like full expose myself on my own podcast. That's fine. Sometimes when I
Woo,
post
let's do
things, sometimes
it.
when I post things, I don't get like the engagement that I'm hoping for, or you
Hmm.
know, sometimes like so many bots will like roll in and like vote on my polls and that kind of thing.
Yes.
So what are some tips for, you know, ensuring that you're hitting the right audience with your stories, and showing up in new places with your stories?
Yeah, that's a really, really good question and a very consistent challenge for a lot of people. So, with that, engagement is interesting because a lot of people place all of their success within the likes. But the truth is, with all of the opportunities to purchase these things in this day, Instagram's no longer prioritizing likes. So they're prioritizing engagement, shares, saves, comments. And so the way that I've grown my engagement, literally, I remember like 5 months ago, I think I was getting like 2 or 3 comments because I did have to transition. I was a food blogger before this, so I had to transition. So the way that I started growing it was 2 things. One thing was vulnerability. So really getting raw and real, and I'm sure, and I know that you do, you get raw and real.
I do.
So that vulnerability is key. So keep showing up like that. And then I think sometimes as entrepreneurs, we get a little bit caught up in our vision and mission of what we're doing and our day-to-day activities and being so busy all the time. And within your captions, focus on just come from a place of imagine what my audience is thinking and the problems and the challenges that they're having. So step into their shoes, be compassionate, and make sure that all your captions are saying, rather than a lot of eyes, say you, like talk to them, like say, you might be feeling this way, or, you know, or even like ask them a question like, do you feel me? Or does this resonate with you? Because then you're going to get feedback in the comments. And if it does resonate, then they want more of that. So that's another, always end with a call to action, but not necessarily a salesy call to action, more just like drive someone to want to comment. And then last thing, this is really, really good. This is a good tippy, is that, so we all have competitors in our space and a lot of them can inspire us, but we're all really uniquely ourselves. So we all have our own gifts. So it's actually really powerful to look at what someone else with your passions is doing and how they're showing up. And if they have a lot of engagement, look at the comments, look at what people are asking, look at the questions that people are asking, and create content around those questions. And then you know that piece of content that you're going to push out will likely resonate because someone already asked the question.
That is
Hopefully
such
that makes
a good
sense.
tip. Yes, I love that. I think that that's such a good tip, because a lot of the time, like, you know, from just speaking with a lot of different people, different people get overwhelmed by all the stuff that's going on online, right? And all the people that you can follow and everything else that everyone is doing, right? So a lot of people will just put like blinders on and like not pay attention. But I like your advice of doing the opposite, because, you know, it's not so much that you're judging or comparing yourself against what somebody else is posting online. It's more, you're using that as your market research.
Yes,
And
that's a good way to put it.
Right. And so I actually had someone who, was asking me the other day, you know, how do you do your market research? And we were just talking through the DMs. And I was like, yeah. She was like, oh, do you do like, you know, different surveys and forms and that kind of thing? I was like, yeah, like I'll do them if I'm launching a program or if I'm wanting to get like feedback around something specific. But I was like, honestly, like the rest of my market research comes from like regular conversations or, you know, what people are posting in the comments and all of that. Right. And she was like, oh, like I never thought of that as market research before. And I was like,
so true.
Right? I don't know.
It's so valuable and it's free.
Yeah, exactly. So
so
when you shifted from your food blogger niche to the social media niche, how did you do that and ensure that your audience was like still engaged with what you were doing? Like, I know you just gave us some tips now, but
yeah,
they're very different industries.
They are very different industries. So I focus, when I create and push content, I focus on 3 things with pillars. So I create 3 pillars that within all my content that I'm going to push out, I make sure it has to be, and it has to hit on one of those pillars. So I ended up only really needing to alter one pillar, which was trading food for social media.
Amazing.
So I approached it like that because I was like, okay, ultimately it's only one thing. The other ones that I focus on are empowerment and entrepreneurship. So tips to run your own business. And so this is really, really good. So everyone grows and evolves and our passions evolve. And so a lot of my clients ask me, they're like, should I be making a new Instagram because I'm altering my entire mission here? And I say, you can. So there's no right or wrong, but you can. But you have done such a good job at building what you already have. Let's just prime your audience. And if the audience doesn't align with it and they unfollow you, and there will be a level of unfollowing in the beginning when you transition, that's okay. So what you do is what I did and what a lot of my clients do is I'm just like post in your story and say, hey guys, I want to let you know that I'm going to be transitioning my content. My mission has kind of changed. I'm helping impact-driven entrepreneurs. You'll still see a little cooking in my stories. If this doesn't align with you, I totally understand. But I just wanted to let you know, I hope you guys like it. And I think that primes them in a really positive way. And that's a big tip that can be really helpful. And I think that's what helped me sustain them. I did get unfollowers though, and that was okay. It's nothing offensive.
Exactly. And it just creates more space for the people who are meant to be there to be
Yeah, beautiful. I've heard that, and that's beautifully said.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you were saying earlier on about your like follower amount, like the amount of followers that you have does not indicate your success, like how successful you are in your business. What are some tips if you're in like a service-based business? You know, a lot of the times people won't engage with, I know I won't say people, I'll say myself. Sometimes I won't engage with people, you know, or try and start, you know, a lot of conversations with people who have a lot more followers than me, you know, in terms of like, you know, if they'd be interested in my program or working together or that kind of thing, because I just automatically get deterred by like, well, they have this many followers, they must have it all figured out and like they probably don't need
Right.
it.
Yeah.
What would you say to that?
That's a good I mean, I don't blame you for thinking that. I really don't. First things first. But I would say just simply shoot your shot. I do have a number of, so I do all my outreach on Instagram and then Facebook groups. And I just have a number that I like to try to hit every day. And it's nothing crazy. It's like 10 or 20, but sometimes I like to test it out and like treat it like a science experiment. And if it is someone that you really want to work with and you think you can help them, then just go for it. If they reply, they reply. And if not, it's okay. But just copy and paste it, maybe change their name and you're good to go.
I love that. Um, what, okay. What are some tips? I have like my things that I love to do in the DMs, but I'm curious what yours are, of like really building that relationship and building that connection.
Yeah, so definitely focusing on that human connection. I think a lot of people, and you probably remember this when you were first starting out. Did you have any resistance on doing like outreach and feeling like it was salesy?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So I used to have that, but coming from a direct sales role, I was able to break through that pretty quickly. But I focus on the mindset that this is a human connection, and I try to be really genuine. I give them positive feedback to start, and ultimately I come from a collaboration space. So, you know, if it is something that they might need and benefit from, then great. And if not, maybe we can benefit each other by doing some sort of collaboration. So I kind of focus on that. And yeah, I think just having this positive mindset of like it's gonna be okay. If 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 it's not for them, it's all right. And yeah, it's a human connection.
I love that. And that's actually how you and I got, how we even got here today, because you
Yeah,
reached out and you were
exactly.
like, hey, do you want to collaborate? And I was like, oh, I was like, this sounds like fun. I was like, what would we collaborate? And then we started talking and then we were like, hey, podcast. Yes, podcast. And I'm
Yes.
so glad that
Yes.
we did. Um,
Yes. And I love your mindset. So I'm so glad we are doing this.
oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Absolutely.
I really
Of
appreciate that. That's
course.
kind of how I started the podcast to begin with, was because, you know, it was originally like just, I didn't, when I first started, I didn't like interview a lot of people. It was a lot of, you know, just coming on and talking about different things here and there.
Yeah.
And it's evolved into something that's so amazing. But I actually have a question for you. There's
Yeah.
2 H's in the corner of your screen. Are they intentionally
Oh,
there?
yeah. That, yes. Oopsies that way. Yeah. So that is, this is my office space. It's called Hyde House, and it's in an area of Tampa called Hyde Park. So
Oh
yeah.
my God, I love that, because this is the Happiness Happens podcast. I saw it and I was like, oh my
Wait,
God,
that is
yes,
such a sign.
I know.
Stop.
I know.
I just like, I like moved my spot so many times and I was like, all right, this works. That's such a
I
sign.
absolutely love it. And I was like looking, I was like, for everyone who's listening right now and isn't watching on YouTube, Carly has like 2 H's. They're like gold H's, like just sitting in the corner of her screen. And I was like, oh my God, I was like, I really feel like that's aligned. and really, really crazy. So
Such a sign.
right.
Good
Okay.
observation.
Thank you. So what would you say about the Instagram algorithm? How is the algorithm working right now? What does the algorithm like? What should people be doing more of, and what should people be doing less of? A lot of
Yeah, that's a great cue. Great question. So the Instagram algorithm right now, as mentioned a little bit earlier, so basically with the likes, it's really not prioritizing likes right now. Even, and I know in some areas, I know one of my clients lives in Canada, and her likes, I go on her Instagram and they're not even there. Like
Yeah.
they took them away. So likes, they're starting to back off with that. And what's really key right now is creating the shareable and savable content. So what that means, we'll dive a little bit deeper into that, is what that means is if I were to post a photo of myself, someone is going to be less likely to want to save it and share it with someone else versus if I post some sort of graphic or quote even that's inspiring, that provides a lot of value, they're going to want to save it and share it. And that's because it's just going to resonate more than just a photo of me. So I recommend testing out. I always recommend treating it like a science experiment and test it out. Maybe try to dip in some quotes along with the photos of you. And I will tell you, sometimes the quotes or the graphics don't get as many likes, but again, it's nothing to be concerned about. Photos of you are always going to get more likes, just because it's almost like a little vice versa situation there. So that's the shareable and savable is super key. And then 80% of everything and your growth and organic growth goes into engagement. So prioritize engagement just as you prioritize posting consistently. So engagement, what that looks like is going and taking like 15 minutes to an hour a day and go comment genuine comments on your followers' posts and share them if they resonate and save them if they resonate, put them in your story, because that's going to convert that follower into a super fan. So even you and I, now we've had this human connection. We are like full force super fans of each other. We support each other. I love seeing your face in my feed.
Oh, thank you.
So
Likewise.
yeah, so the engagement and then the savable and shareable content are the two big priorities that I would highly encourage everyone focuses on right now. And do you know Canva? You probably know Canva.
Oh yes, I love Canva.
Canva will be your best friend if you're looking to share some quotes and things like that.
I love that. If you are actually, you know what, just you saying that just like really reminded me. So I've been loving posting like just like different like affirmations and stuff like that. And what you're saying is so true. Like my posts that are photos of me get more likes, but less shares. But those posts, the ones that are like, you know, this or that, or like the comparison ones, like, you know, reality versus expectation or expectation versus reality or whatever. Those ones get the most saves, they get the most shares, and they get the most comments on them, which is
good.
Yeah.
That it's working. That's good.
I know. I'm actually really excited about that because I just had this, like, as we're talking, I'm like, oh my God,
epiphany.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
okay.
amazing.
If someone is a newer person to the social media world, you know, what would be like 3 key things that they should maybe focus on to get their content, their branding and all that kind of stuff off to like a really strong start and make like a really good splash?
Yeah, make a splash with a cannonball. If you are if you are a newer creative going onto social media, I would recommend, so number one, get super clear with your mission. One of the biggest mistakes that I made when I first started launching businesses, when I first launched the Empowerist, I didn't go narrow enough. I wanted to help everyone. And because of that, I ended up speaking ultimately to no one because it was confusing because I'm like, I'm doing fitness and I'm doing inspirational quotes and I'm doing food and healthy food. So that's super key. Get super laser focused on your mission and who you want to reach. Niche down, I always like to say niche down and then niche down further. So get super, super niche. And then number 2 is to create those key pillar content. So just create three things that align with you and your passion and your mission that make you really special, and just focus on sharing content that revolves around all three. And then number three is show up consistently and vulnerably, and just make your main focus, I'm going to provide value and I'm not going to care about engagement whatsoever. So just consistently show up and provide value, and get in your Instagram story, even when it's scary. People are going to love you, and they're going to be excited to see those behind the scenes moments.
I love that. That's really, really important, especially the behind the scenes moments. People are following you because they want, to be part of your life and like what you do. And I think like the more that we sort of let people into like the real world that's behind what like the account is, that makes all the difference, because that's what resonates with people the most.
That's right.
I love that. I love that. And I think like something that I've seen a lot of too, that I've always loved, is when people just let their personality shine. Like you were saying before, like the vulnerability and, like letting your silliness shine, or, if you think something's funny, like sharing it, it makes it so much more relatable, then you're like, oh my God, I love that too. And it's so hilarious that she loves this, I want to quickly pause this interview and tell you about the Handel Group coaches that I've had the honor and privilege of bringing onto the Happiness Happens podcast. With every conversation and interview, I've learned something so impactful and so life-changing. Inner You Life is the online coaching course from Handel Group that gives you the tools to get yourself unstuck, wildly happy, and thriving where it matters most to you. Your relationship to yourself, career, love, body, money, time, and more. From wherever, whenever. Recommended by Hugh Jackman, Dr. Mark Hyman, Forrest Whitaker, Elena Brower, and hundreds more. Taught in MIT, Stanford School of Business, and 50 plus institutes of learning across the world. Visit inneryou.coach and use the code HappinessHappens at checkout for $75 off. Now, back to the episode.
Yes. Oh my God, 100%. That's a good one that I am working on actually prioritizing that more, because sometimes I forget to. I think my personality can shine in my captions, but I don't always think it does in my Instagram stories. So I'm going to see, I got to take away a little something from this. That's amazing. I'm going to start prioritizing that.
Oh, I love that. I think you have such a great personality. You have this like
Thank you.
beautiful like presence about you. Like you have a really beautiful energy. And
Thank you.
So
I appreciate that.
Oh, you're so welcome. And here's the thing, like I think that sometimes maybe when people say like personality, it means like, you have to be like, oh my God, like hello, like da 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 da. But that's not necessarily like the case, right? Like just being you is more than enough. I love that.
That's right. 100%.
I love that.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. So I know that you do more than just Instagram in terms of social media. You also hang out on Facebook and LinkedIn. Can we talk a little bit about LinkedIn and why LinkedIn is so important right now, and how it's good for like business owners, but maybe also as like a third part of that, like how to leverage it for your business?
Yeah, LinkedIn is powerful right now because it's almost like the white space of social media, because often people have resistance on posting on there, since a lot of people will view it as a space to get a job basically, or a space to show up as like super professional. And it's kind of refreshing when you go on there and you just see someone like owning their brand and sharing their blog and owning their story. And so the reason why it's a nice white space opportunity is the algorithm's different on there. So Facebook, you don't really need hashtags, but LinkedIn, you want to use just a couple, like a handful. So not the 30 that you might use on Instagram, like 5 or 6, like really quality ones. And the other really, really powerful thing is that if someone else shares your post in LinkedIn, a lot of people have at least 500 plus connections. So the amount of people that will be able to see it, and the way that you can expand a whole new realm of an audience is just really, really powerful. So I think sharing blogs, even a blog that is not yours, that just resonates and is, whether it's inspiring or it just resonates with you, share like a quick little caption about why it resonates, drop a couple hashtags that are relevant, and just post it. Because if it resonates with you, it will likely resonate with someone else who is one of your connections.
I love that. I love
Do
that.
you promote on LinkedIn?
I didn't for a very long time because I was working a corporate job and I didn't want it to
Yeah.
be like messy. I wasn't sure like what are the rules, like was I allowed and that kind of thing. And then
Yeah.
during coronavirus, I ended up getting laid off and I was like, well, time to put my business on my LinkedIn profile because I've been doing it since like last September. And so I was like,
Incredible.
you know what, like let's make it official. And so I did, and I started posting things and here and there. I actually haven't been on LinkedIn in a while, and I actually haven't really just been on social media. Like I've been like posting here and there, but I haven't been on my stories as much as I normally am. I'm just like in a season of like watching from the sidelines, I guess. I don't know. In this current
Embrace
moment.
it. Yeah, embrace that. That's so normal. And I go through that. Everyone goes through that. And sometimes you just come back and you document that moment and say, you know, I've been feeling this and I'm so excited that I'm here and now. It's
Mm-hmm.
okay.
I love that. I love that, you know, even though you work in the social media world and even though you do this in your business, that you still know that it's okay to take breaks and, you know, giving people that permission to do that too. Because I think
Yes.
like when people don't, you know, I don't
It's
know.
like this anxiety of like, oh my God, I need to post. When it gets to that point, that means we need a little mindset shift because I
Yes.
don't want it to be stressful for anyone, myself included, because trust me, there are moments where I'm like, I'm helping all my clients and I can't even help myself. So it's okay. It's the journey.
It is, exactly. When you're helping your clients, so what exactly are like the different things that you do for your clients, services that you provide for your clients? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I have three opportunities. So I do full-time like social media management. That's for the person that just is like, I don't want anything to do with this. I don't really know how to do it, but I know I need it. So I will create their captions. They usually provide photos and videos, and then I can create like thumbnails or graphics as well for the shareable
Mm.
and savable content. And then I do their hashtag research as well, and just kind of tie the brands with like a bow and stay consistent. And then I do also just one-on-one consulting. So that's where we work together. We create a really strong vision of your mission and where we're going to go and make sure that your strategy aligns with your offerings so that everything can work in just like a really synergetic way. And then the last way is through my community, which is called Social Impact. And it's those
Mm.
impact-driven entrepreneurs where we will meet once a week, and it comes with a course and then an ebook as well with my 6 years worth of experience and what works and what doesn't work.
I love that. Is that one more of like a membership based?
Yeah, so that is a 3-month membership, and then it's just rolling. If they want to be a part of it after, they can, but we will accomplish and help grow their business and scale within the 3 months.
Mm. I love that.
So, so yeah, and I'm just like so excited for your mission. I'm so glad that you've been bringing it to the world because you have such a gift.
Thank you. That's, you know,
Absolutely.
honestly, I think that that's, first of all, just such a kind thing for you to say. And also, I think that, you know, I've spent a lot of different time always second guessing where I'm at in my business and if I'm doing the right thing in terms of, you know, the programs that I create and all of these different things. I'm a very like go, go, go type of person. So I get an idea and I like roll
Yeah.
with it and I can execute it within like, you know, 24 hours, which is amazing. But then it's like, I don't always think about, you know, how does it fit in my long-term plan? Like, you know,
Right.
a year. And so what always stays true though, and is always like consistent is like the mindset piece of all of it. And I think
That's right.
that's like where I just love to, like, I love to live in that area. Like I love to talk about it. It's my favorite part. I honestly think it's my favorite part.
It's beautiful. I mean, mindset is such a foundation to success and to growth and just momentum. Mindset, everything,
Everything. Exactly.
everything.
And with that in mind, like, have you ever had any, um, like, I know we talked a little bit about it earlier, but have you ever had, you know, or I guess we can expand a little bit on the fear that you were talking about earlier, about you were fearful of sort of shifting and putting your name on your page and like, you know, really stepping into like the owner of your business, for lack of better words, because you were fearful of what other people would think and that kind of thing. How did you work through that?
Yeah, how did I navigate that? So someone that really, really inspires me, and I don't know if you know him or even are inspired by him, but Gary Vee.
Yep.
Gary Vee really, really inspires me. And literally, I just listened to him and he just kept saying, stop caring about what everyone thinks. And I just literally had to just stop. Like, I was like, this is holding me back, and the time is ticking, and the time is the biggest asset that I have on my back right now. So it is just time to just do it and stop caring. And when I really did start to stand and on my own 2 feet basically and just like raise up and rise, I definitely did get 100%. I totally know that I got pushback. I remember my mom was like not a super fan of like me creating my own path, and she just totally believes in the corporate realm because that's what she knows.
Yeah.
So the moment, and she was very supportive of me quitting the job. She knew it wasn't for me, but she was like, Carly, like, are you applying? And I'm like, no, I'm building a business. And I remember because I went home. I live in Tampa, and I went home after I quit because I just, number one, I lived with my boyfriend, which is amazing, but I just needed to be by myself for like 2 months to just get back in action, like find my happiness again so I can be a better lover and everything. So found myself again while I was home for 2 months. And then it was like she started seeing me on my Zoom calls with my clients, and I was never like, I never needed her financial help. And it was that moment that she sat me down and she was like, okay, well, you haven't asked me for any help financially. And she's like, I see you doing this. And so even when people probably didn't really agree with what I was doing and me stepping into my light, now they do. And now that it's funny that the moment that they finally see it work is the moment that they're like, okay, wow, like she's really killing it. But they weren't there when I was like gorging my own path and trying to figure everything out. But it's okay. So it's just like embracing that, it's hard, but you have to, because if you don't, and if everyone did, then it wouldn't be so special to be an entrepreneur. That's why they say like 1%, the 1%. And it really takes a passion and a drive and a commitment. And I know you have what it takes. I know a lot of people on this podcast likely have what it takes. So step into that starting today, because it's all we have.
Oh, I love that so much. That is so, so good. And I really think that is the key, you know what I mean? Is just like forgetting what everybody else says, forgetting what everybody else thinks of you. And exactly like you're saying, like just kind of like tuning out everything that isn't serving you and how you're going to step into what you really want to do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always nice to have the support of other people. That's always really nice, but it isn't always what happens, right?
Yes.
So if you think now to like where you are now, the success your business has had after the time that you've put into to grow it and to build it, what are all the people who were sort of doubting you in the beginning? Like, how do they all feel now?
They are literally so amazed. And I say this with humility, but I can't not say that I'm proud of where I am today, because it did take a lot of risk and a lot of just tuning it out, like you said. So, but they are super amazed. Actually, just hired I hired my first team member last Friday, and then I have 2 more since then. But one of the girls that I hired, I actually went to high school with.
Oh my God, that's so exciting.
So yeah, I'm like super excited. She actually is super in alignment with our visions and mindsets. And she actually wants to be a mindset life coach, and she's in grad school for that right now. And so I'm super grateful because she's going to help me. I'm going to actually mentor her, and it's just like a dynamic duo. So let's go.
That is so incredible. How exciting.
So exciting.
That's so fun. I love that. That's such a good feeling. And it's like, you know, when your business gets in a place of being able to like support that every single month, you know, it's like, it's an amazing feeling. Like I hired my first VA last month. No, 2 months ago. I think it was 2 months ago. And being
Amazing.
able, oh, honestly, like life changing. And
Yes.
being
Amazing.
able to, you know, consistently have her and like not going into like, you know, in the negative every month with, you know, after, you know, paying her, um, it's incredible because it's like, you know, is every single month like 10,000? Is it 5,000? No, not every single month is not for me
Right.
anyways yet. But
Yeah.
it's like, I'm so proud that that's something that can
Yes.
be, you know, I don't know. I
It's a
don't know. I'm off on a tangent now.
milestone. No, it is a true milestone, truly. It's so exciting. And just like I said, when I even got my first tiny little payment from two clients in September, it was so small, but I will never forget that moment of how incredibly freeing it was to be like, wow, I'm really doing this. I'm
Yeah.
stepping into my light and this is happening. And I slowly, I mean, I'm sure, did you go through the imposter syndrome? That
Mm-hmm.
was tough. I went through that too, like about 5 months ago, and it was tough.
I'll be honest, I like imposter syndrome is something that I continuously go through and continuously have to work through, because what I've realized is, you know, over the last few years that we work through limiting beliefs initially, and then as you start to level up and as you start to do different things, your limiting beliefs come back in different ways. You know what I mean? And
That's
like,
right.
while they don't last as long as it used to, it's still like it can derail me, you know, pretty quickly. I'm glad that I have the tools in place now to be able to shift back super quick. But if,
Yes.
oh, it's crazy.
It's amazing, and I'm so glad that we're both a work in progress with it, and so many other people struggle with it. And know that they're not alone. You're not alone. I'm with you. I completely connect.
I love that. Um, okay. This is one of my last questions for you. And I guess it ties in really nicely to what we're just talking about. But how could our listeners start to show up really confidently online and really stand out and like make their impact?
Yes. So the way that they can do that is show up in the stories, and anytime that you're just like in the shower or having a conversation with someone else and you feel like, man, that's really powerful, literally be like, I'll be right back, and go share it on your story. Showing up that way, and then showing up in your captions and showing up for your following. And even if you don't even have a reason to DM someone that newly followed you, DM them and say, hey, thank you so much for the follow. I am so excited to learn more about your journey. Boom, done. You have a human connection. You have someone who actually appreciates you, and you'll start to see from that they're going to like your photos more often, maybe even comment if it resonates. And that's how that engagement pattern really starts to begin.
I love that. That is so good. And you know what? I think that it really, the way you put it, it like takes the drama out of, you know, going and engaging with people in the DMs. Because I think like I know for me anyways, I'm always like, oh my gosh, okay, I've got to create 10 minutes in my day to go and like sit
Yeah.
and open DMs. And then I start scrolling, and then I don't actually end up DMing anybody, and I just end up sitting and like liking a bunch of people's pictures. But you have like,
Right.
and it's not that I don't know how to do it. It's just that I don't know what it is. I think like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's okay.
I don't know. But yeah, it's definitely like really, really interesting because it's like you can have that, like you can have that human connection in, you know, 2 seconds. Oh, we're traveling. For everyone who's,
We're a little and
hello.
okay, we're back. I'm so sorry, everyone. We just have a little live moment. I needed to connect to the charger.
Oh no. Could you imagine? You were like hustling there. You
We're
were like, oh
back.
my God.
I'm like, get back.
Ooh. I was
We're
like,
back.
we're moving. We are going somewhere. Oh
I'm
my
so
goodness.
grateful it didn't die.
I
So
know,
we
me
can
too.
finish off this podcast strong.
I know, right? I know it's going to be, okay. I love it. So, also for everyone who's not watching this and who's just listening, your office is absolutely beautiful. There's so many, like, I'm loving it. I love it so much.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. Okay. I guess one question that I would love to ask you before my last question for you.
Yeah.
What are some ways that you set yourself up for success every single day?
Yes, that's a beautiful question. So morning routine, I'm sure you have such a beautiful one. I need to know. But morning routine is amazing. So this is something that I've been practicing since I was 18. It hasn't changed, and it really sets me up for a day of success. And when I skip it, my day is always off. So I wake up, and I usually have a warm glass of lemon water, and then I make a coffee, and then I sit down and I get a journal and I write usually about 5 things that I'm really grateful for. And they can be so simple. Like, I am so grateful that I got to sleep in a warm, comfy bed because sometimes we don't always have that, and not everybody has that chance and that moment and that opportunity right now. So really giving that light and energy. And then I write my intentions for the day. So how do I want to feel, and how do I want my energy to flow, and who do I want to give to, and who do I want to send love? I actually send people love. So whoever I'm feeling like I just want to send them, like, have a beautiful day, I'll text them. So pushing that energy out and writing it down. And I'm also reading this amazing book that's a quick, like, little paragraph, and it's called The Journey to the Heart. And it's just like, by the date, highly recommend. It's just like, again, another nice little thing to add to my morning routine. So that's how I start it. And I'm not sure if yours is similar, but that's what I do. And it just like transitions and makes me so happy.
I love that. I love that you make an intention to send love to people. That's something that I have to add to mine for sure. That's
Yes.
beautiful. I love that. What is mine? Mine is,
Yeah. What's yours?
okay. It's varied over the years. Right now,
I love it.
Honestly, so one of the things that I realized the most with my morning routine was that my morning routine was turning into like a bunch of shoulds. Like, I have to get up and I have to do this. And I have to do,
Okay.
and so I was like, oh, I don't know about this. So I'm gonna like rein it back in. So what I realized,
Yeah.
Especially during coronavirus, because I was home for so long, I like having my morning like to wake up. So like I like to have like a solid hour, and whatever I do in there sets my day up for success. So I don't, I make a really big point to like not go on social media. It's hard sometimes, I'll be honest.
Yes.
But right? I mean, it's hard.
So hard.
It's hard because it's like, oh, what happened overnight? But then it's like, then you're crowding your energy with everybody else's energy, and you're not even getting to sit fully into your energy yet, and before absorbing everything that's going on in the world around you. So, So right now I wake up and I started a new workout program. It's like 30 minutes max. So I actually roll straight into the workout. Otherwise thank you. Otherwise it'll just like never get done. Not that like, it's just easier. Like, it's like one of those things that if you're like driving home from work, right? You drive home from work and you go straight to the gym. Like, you don't go home first because once you get home, you are not going back out. So I wake up.
I used to wake up at like 5 a.m. to do that.
Oh my gosh.
I don't anymore, but I used to when I worked at the other job.
Wow. I used to go on
my
way
you go.
home.
I'm proud of you.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome.
Thank you.
You keep showing up. And then what do you do?
Okay, so I do this workout, and then I do a meditation, and it, like, honestly, for however long, like sometimes 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever, I will journal something out. It really depends. Sometimes it's like a really, really long letter. Sometimes it's just like little different things here and there. How do I want today to be? That kind of thing. And then that's pretty much it right now. And then I'll just like hop in the shower, I'll get ready for my day, that kind of thing, and roll into my day. And, as I'm driving to work, I love to listen to different ebooks. So I listen to like an ebook or a podcast, that kind of thing. And then by the time I've gotten to work, I'm like in this place. I'm like, oh my God, like nothing can bother me. Actually,
Yay, beautiful.
another thing that I started doing that I don't know how this would resonate with you at all, but
Yeah.
when I do my workouts, instead of like playing music, which is like the strangest thing, or even journaling or whatever, I've started listening to like manifestation frequencies. So you can just like
Ooh,
find it on
okay.
YouTube, and it's like subliminal like messages, and it's like in the form of just like, you know, frequencies. It's like, you know, just like it sounds like music, but it's so calming. And then there's like subtle messages that are being passed down to you. And I kid you not, I've done like the money one. There's like a couple of
Mm-hmm.
money ones, and I did it. And all the times that I've done it, money has shown up. I've gotten a new client. Like, and I listen to them with intention. So I think
That's amazing.
it's amazing. If you try it, let me know what
Even
you
the
think.
HH over there, it's like such a higher frequency situation. That's so cool.
It's crazy. It's insane.
Crazy.
So yeah, so that's pretty much it.
Amazing. I'm gonna
Yeah.
try to incorporate that. I love that.
Let me know what you think.
I will.
Yes. Okay, Carly, let us know where our listeners can find you.
Yes, you can find me at Carly, Carly, Zimbone, Z as in zebra, I, M as in Mary, Bone, on Instagram. You're going to see a lot of pink. And I'm on Facebook too. Again, it's just Carly Zimbone. So yeah,
I love it. And my
would love to
last
connect.
Yes. And my last question for you is a question that I ask all my guests when they come on the show. And it's, how could someone create a little bit more happiness in their day every day starting today?
Such a great question. You can create a little more happiness every day, starting today, by literally embracing you for all of your quirks, embracing you for those things that you put resistance on, and just starting to embrace it and fall in love with it, because it's what makes you special and unique, so that you can start to put your gift into the world and leave that behind today. Just let it go.
I love that. That's so good.
Yes, I'm going to let it go too. that was a good
Exactly.
reminder.
I love that. Carly, thank you so much for being on the show today. This was so fun.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Simona. Thanks for bearing with me with my little transition there. And I appreciate you. I'm so excited to keep following your journey and keep shining your light.
I'm so excited to keep following yours too, and for this beautiful connection that we have made. I'm very excited about it. Yes.
Amazing.
And thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in to this week's episode on the podcast. If you loved this episode as much as I know that we both did, definitely let us know. Find us on Instagram, find us on Facebook, reach out, let us know that you love this episode, let us know that you're listening. Connect with Carly and let her know if you have any questions. I'm going to put all of her information in the show notes here so that you can access it so easily. And definitely take Carly's advice in terms of balancing like who you are as a person with how you show up online. I really think that authenticity is so important, because that's how you really grow and extend your business from a heart-centered place. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you have a beautiful week, and remember that happiness happens when you are least expecting it. Thanks so much for being here today. I hope these words have brought you inspiration, insight, and a bit more happiness. Please leave a comment or a review if this episode resonates with you. I would be so grateful. Until next time, remember that happiness happens when you're least expecting it.